He's a former Astros radio broadcaster, Brett Dolan. I'm Corey Heppola. And Brett, this Astros team struggling and really struggling on offense. They've been shut out now 10 times, 3 of them within the last week.
Yeah, the last week has been rough. 2 runs in these 2 games so far against the Braves. We were hoping maybe coming home they could either find some offense, get some home runs to kind of kickstart the entire lineup. Just hasn't happened yet.
And it's been a season of streaks with this Astros team. So at the beginning, they were hot, or they were cold, and then they caught fire. And now recently they're cold again. Look at this, the first 37, 11 and 26. We're thinking, great, this is a rerun of 2013. Well, then the next 33 games, look at that, 21 and 12, a great stretch. You guys see the numbers there. Terrific ERA from the starters. Why do you think they were so good during this stretch, Brett?
A lot of things came together. They got some youthful enthusiasm, some home runs. They also took advantage of the schedule. They played a Rangers team that was ailing, the White Sox, Seattle at home, Kansas City before the Royals got hot, Baltimore, the Angels, at Minnesota when the Twins have been scuffling, and the Diamondbacks. So they did what I think you're supposed to do, take advantage of those lulls in your schedule. Obviously, they did more than that with a 21 and 12 record. Bo Porter preaches consistency. As you can see with these numbers, it just hasn't happened yet. Terrible, very good, and really bad, up and down, just trying to find a little more common ground here going forward.
What's really been deflating with this team the last 9 games or so, you see the starter's ERA, it's at 3.9. You should not go 1 and 8 during a stretch where your starting pitching's that good.
That's been the frustrating part. They clearly have had an opportunity to win some games with what their starters have done. We've seen that in the 2 games in this series. But again, the bats have picked a bad time to go silent because these pitchers probably feel like they've done enough to at least get some wins during this stretch where they're 1 and 8.
Come on, guys, help me out here, right?
Just give me a couple.
A 190 average, just 20 runs over those last 9 games. We go out to Minute Maid Park. Bill Brown and Jeff Blum are there. Jared Cozart gets a start.
It's a tough way to take the mound. Corey, back to you guys.
You guys, everybody likes pitchers that can get outs on the ground, quick outs, efficient innings. Are you surprised maybe Cozart hasn't had bigger strikeout totals, or is that something that may come as he develops in future years?
Oh, they lost us.
We lost. Now you're back. Now you're back.
Now we're back. Can we do that again? Brett, you want to ask it one more time?
I was just telling you guys not to put those shirts in with your whites. Actually, I was saying about Jared Cozart. You know, he gets so many outs and a high percentage of his outs on ground balls, and that's good as far as efficiency and pitch count. So you're surprised maybe he hasn't had a higher strikeout total, or is that something that may come as he develops further as a pitcher?
Veras did have 19 saves with the Astros last year. Brett, what role do you expect him to have with this team?
I think that's a good explanation. He's a guy who could close if you're in a stretch where the team's winning 4 to 5 games. Maybe Chad Qualls isn't available. He can also provide some high leverage innings late that'll get Bo Porter excited. Without Albers, without Crane yet in the mix, it's nice to have him available. Also some leadership qualities he'll bring to those relievers in the bullpen.
But Chad Qualls isn't going anywhere right now.
Wouldn't think so, but right now the team needs to have leads in which to close. That's been the issue. But Veras does give them that opportunity. If he matches up maybe a little bit better with some of the batters coming up in the 9th, you could see a scenario where he could get out there. You save 19 games. It's not a situation that he hasn't been out there before.
He had some control issues with the Cubs, made just 12 appearances, and that's really what got his release there. But last year with the Astros, that was not an issue at all. Had 44 strikeouts, just 14 walks, so very efficient.
And when you look at his numbers with the Cubs this year, his first 6 were terrible. His ERA was nearly 20, went on the disabled list with an oblique strain. His last 6 were really pretty good, but maybe the shell shock and the bad outweighed the good, and he was just kind of the odd man out for the Cubs, but I know the Astros happy to have him back.
Yeah, and the Astros happy to have him back because they traded him to the Tigers, and they got a minor league prospect in him too, Vasquez. He's an outfielder for the Lancaster Jethawks right now, hitting about 280, 24 extra base hits, so they got something in return for Veras as well. Our Comcast Business Edge, sports at the speed of business. Brett, you want to guess who it is today?
Could it be Altuve?
It is Altuve. He gives the Astros the edge. Is he okay? We got to check him for a fever or something because he went hitless last night, just the 15th time this season. So you're saying he has nearly as many 3 or more hit games than he does does hitless,
And
going without a hit.
He has the same number of multi-hit games, 30, as he has games with just one hit. He's as likely to get 2 as he is 1, or almost as likely to get 3 as he is 0. So maybe that means he'll break out today after going hitless, a rare 0 for last night.
The other part of his game that it seems to have improved is his base stealing. He's 28 for 31 this season. Very efficient.
Good point, Corey. The efficiency is outstanding with those 28 stolen bases. We see the hits. When you talk about a guy leading the league in hits or leading the league in batting average, that's going to get the headlines. But with what he's done to improve his game from a stolen base standpoint is important. He also has about 50% of the team's stolen bases. If he can run a little bit, he might create some better pitches for guys like Springer and Singleton behind him in that lineup.
It's so efficient that when he singles, you're almost like, you can you just put him at second base and in scoring position at this point.
And that stolen base he had against Kimbrel the other day, 2 outs, 9th inning, 98 miles an hour, got such a great jump. He was able to get into scoring position where a base hit could have tied the game. It didn't happen, but he gave the team that chance.
And they had the opportunity with Springer up there, but they got to start getting some big hits with clutch hits with 2 outs, because right now, just 4 runs since Jared Cozart last pitched.
A couple of home runs wouldn't hurt. I know we talked about the home runs, saying they don't need home runs every single day, but a couple of those might find a way to put a run on the board like this guy did yesterday.
Doesn't hurt. Justin Upton's had a couple of them this series. And the Astros plenty of offense today as they give Jared Cozart his 8th win of the year, 6-1 over the Braves. And Brett Dolan, we heard before the game that Jared Cozart, he says, I can't stand day games. I don't like waking up early. Yet he's 5-1 now during day games.
And he started to snap some losing streaks. So what impressed me today, 12 ground ball outs. It just felt like he was able to get some quick outs, a couple of double plays early when the Braves had men on base. Didn't even get a strikeout until the 6th inning. But he was effective again, and a couple of runs behind him gave him a big lead with which to work.
Mixing pitches again, and he's only had 7 walks in his last 5 starts. Always important for him and every pitcher.
If you're not going to strike out a lot of guys and you're going to get some quick outs, just don't put men on base. Don't issue the free passes. He didn't do that today. This was a Braves team that oftentimes scores with home runs. Just about half of their offense comes on long balls. He kept them in the park as well.
And Cozart doesn't give up a lot of home runs. He did, however, give up a run to the very first batter he faced. B.J. Upton came around to score, but that was it. Cozart gets his 8th win of the year, and plenty of offense from a team that hasn't had much in the last 4 games. Astros had lost 4 straight, had scored 4 runs combined total during that stretch. That includes 2 shutouts. And here comes the offense, particularly Matt Dominguez, who had not been swinging a very good bat as of late.
And he got down in the count 0-2. It was a case where you were just hoping he could put the ball in play, maybe get a chance with a big swing to do some damage. Got a 2-strike pitch out over the plate, and he did just that.
And Brett, with this at bat, here we're going to see all 3 pitches. He misses some fastballs that we thought, these are ones that usually he would hit.
Especially that second pitch. You saw the first one was up in the zone. Then the minor pitch up out over the plate. Dominguez protecting, still able to get enough to drive this up off the bricks in left center and end that hitless streak. You're right. That comes with some relief. Also kind of put this game out of reach.
He's certainly consistent with his home runs. On June 25th last year, he hit his 11th home run. Today, June 26th, Dominguez hits his 11th home run. It gave the Astros a comfortable 5-1 lead, in the way Cozart was pitching. You felt pretty good about it.
We were waiting for that one big hit this entire series. Astros scored 8 runs in the 3 games. 5 of those came on home runs. We were hoping they'd get that one big swing with men on, and Dominguez did that. And again, the fact that it came with 2 strikes when he was a little bit in protect mode, and then it gave the team just some relief. They were able to score more than they had on that the previous 2 games on one big swing.
Matty took time to check in with our Julia Morales here after the game. That's Matt Dominguez. He wasn't the only one who homered today either. George Springer hit one in the first game of this series on Tuesday. When this guy makes contact, I think Blummer said it best, that ball was like screaming on its way out of the park.
Had a laser trail to it the way it shot out to left center field. It was another 2-strike pitch. Springer didn't exactly cut down on the swing, but then you realize the rewards that come with the risk of maybe some strikeouts when he can launch balls out of the park. And boy, it's fun to watch. You don't get any extra points for length of home runs as he had the other day with 441 feet. And you don't get any extra runs for the way it gets out of the park, how quickly it does, but it does get the fans awfully excited.
Let's just speculate for a moment, okay? Let's just have some fun. Who knows? But Springer, we were talking about it, Brett. Sometimes he swings hard, he strikes out a lot, so for maybe a week at a time, he's going to drive you a little nuts as a manager, but then he's going to do something like this, hit a home run, make a diving catch in right field, and then also have those 4, 5, 6 game stretches where he carries you.
And you feel like those 4 or 5 game stretches are ones that he's going to do so much damage, it's going to exceed maybe the frustrations of the 1 for 15 that he might endure, or some of those high strikeout totals. I mean, some players have those down stretches and can't perform at the level that he can when he's on the upswing, and those upswings are pretty special.
And let's not forget, the guy just made his major league debut, what, 2 months ago?